I'm Jane.
And I'm Jen.
And we're SpielMill, and we did a 5x5. We're doing a monthly 5x5, or a monthly challenge, I should say, throughout 2023. We started with a series of 5x5s. We also have really exciting things like Feldfest coming up.
Which is a 2x18.
That's quite a challenge. And then we have Rosenberg Fest. We need better names for these.
Feldfest stays Feldfest.
Yeah, because it's got alliteration.
It does. We'll figure out the Uwe.
Rosenberg Regatta?
Uwe Palooza.
Uwe Palooza?
Uwe Palooza.
Uwe Palooza it is. And then we're doing Lacerda.
Lacerda Fest works, sort of.
Sort of, yeah.
We'll
Lacerdaval. Lacerdaval. Lacerdaval.
Lacerdaval. Okay. We'll mull it over. We'll see.
We have those coming. So, but we did a 5x5. And we played 5 games. We played Teotihuacan.
I don't know without the list, which you don't have.
Founders of Teotihuacan.
Tawantinsuyu.
Mystic Vale.
And Edge of Darkness.
Exactly. You remember.
I do. Panicked.
Obviously. So we'll talk about each of them. So the first one, why don't we talk about Teotihuacan? This is kind of the order we played them in. So Teotihuacan is designed by Daniel Tassini. It's one of the T games. The artist is Odysseus Stamaglu. Hopefully I didn't butcher that too much.
Yep.
And SKN Games. But it's really Board and Dice is how I know it.
Yeah.
But games have multiple publishers depending on where you are and everything. So that is what that is. Yeah,
and this is, I think, our oldest game. Well, it's one of our oldest games. We have had this one since, on the 5x5, obviously. Okay. So we've had this since 2018. I know that we played it before, in the before times, but we hadn't played it since then. And so it was kind of getting it back to the table. And I'll tell you, I did not have a great opinion of this when we started. Because the last time we played it, I just didn't really enjoy it. I think I got my ass kicked pretty thoroughly. But anyway. So Teotihuacan is set in the sort of Aztec, around the building of the Aztec pyramid. And you have, it's a dice worker movement is sort of the main mechanism. You're basically moving your dice around the board. And every time you move your dice, it goes up a pip. And when it gets to 6, it retires or dies. Then a new worker comes on at a power of 1. And of course, the power of your dice affects the strength of the action. So there's a lot of really, there's a lot of strategy and planning in getting the right dice at the right place at the right time, as well as sort of the usual making sure you have enough resources. There's multiple tracks on this. You're trying to move up as many as you can to kind of maximize how you score. And then in the center is a 3-dimensional, it's in the center of the board, you build a 3-dimensional pyramid, which is really exciting. It's very tactile, and it has a lot of great table presence for that reason.
I was just fixing something. Okay. Yeah, it's I think it's very thematic. It's a very thematic game. Just all the elements of it really fit together well.
Yeah, and I have to say that after playing it again, it was great to get it on the 5x5 because I loved it. I liked it so much better this time around, and I'm not sure why it hit this time and didn't last time, but we just had a really great time with this game, and as you said, it's super thematic. I loved the challenge of figuring out how and when to move your dice, and again, playing a game 5 times kind of changes how you approach it, because one time I decided just to leave one die somewhere to increase the power of that action, and I just left it there, which I think I stole from you. But and I hadn't done that before, and I'd been kind of nervous about trying it because that sort of minimizes the number of dice you have moving around the board, but worked out great. So I just really enjoyed playing this time.
Yeah, it's really fun. I really enjoyed it. We broke out one of the expansions. I was trying to look up the name of it. I can't remember the name of the expansion, but it's like the first expansion that's named after the era, I think. So, and it's a modular expansion, and it adds like another track And
yes. Oh, yes. That was so good.
It added like powers that you could have. It was really cool. It added a lot of playability.
Yeah.
That was very enjoyable for me. I think it really added a lot anyway. So.
Yeah, I agree. I'll tell you, it's something. Was it late?
We didn't add everything. We didn't play through all the elements of the expansion. It's a late pre-classic period.
Yeah.
Expansion.
I'll tell you, you know you're a gamer when you can spell Teotihuacan from memory.
That's right.
Yeah, so this was a great game to have on our 5x5. It's really meaty. It's substantive. It's a 3.78 weight on BGG, and I think it is. It's a pretty heavy game. Not the heaviest game we own, but you know, this is not light.
Yeah, it's not. It's got a lot going on, so it was really fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really like heavy Euros, so
me too.
It's well rated on BGG and it deserves it.
Absolutely. All right, so what is next on our list?
All right, well, the next game that we played is Founders of Teotihuacan, technically. And this is, it's not the same designer, but it's the founders of Teotihuacan.
Although I believe that Daniel Tassini did design the solo mode in this game.
Oh, did he? He's not listed as a designer. It's Philip Glowak. I don't know how to say that, so I apologize.
Yeah.
But the artists... No,
I'm sorry. I'm wrong.
The artists are Chai de Leon, Odysseus Tamaglu again, and Alexander Zawada. So it has Odysseus, who did the art on Teotihuacan, also did the art here.
It's David Turchi. I'm sorry. David Turchi designed the solo mode.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and so this is lighter than Teotihuacan.
Also board and dice.
Yep. It's a 2.6-ish on BGG. This is kind of a really neat, interesting puzzle game. You're still building the pyramid, but each player has their own board, and you're building the pyramid in the center, and you are putting buildings on your board, and each building, when you build it, let's say you build a gold building, you get gold placed around it. And if you build a wood building, you get wood placed around it. And that's kind of how you get resources. Yeah. And those diminish, and they don't automatically refresh, and they certainly don't refresh at the with the amount that you get when you build a building. So you could only get one per building.
You got to balance the resource production with the spending, obviously, and it's tricksy. It's very tricksy.
And there's a neat thing where you've got your, I don't know, architect, and there's 4 points on the board, and as your architect moves around, it can only place something in the half of the board that is directly sort of in its sight, which means that if you are really trying to build your green up in your top quadrant because you're going to score up there, and you're sort of at the bottom when the green becomes available, you can't do it. I mean, you just can't do it. And so there's that real tension between being in the right place at the right time to build the pieces of your building that you want to build.
It's got a neat action selection system. We did a little mechanism spotlight on it because it's, when you're the first person to do an action, you get a bonus. But if you do it later, you get a stronger action.
Yeah.
So,
and those are variable. You place those out at the beginning of the round. So, and I like that. So I really, I really liked this game a lot. This was a great sort of follow up to Teotihuacan.
Yeah, it was, and it was interesting. I don't think it has the variability and the replayability of Teotihuacan.
Yeah.
I think that puzzle maybe has finite solutions, or it feels like it does, because we played 5 games of it, and by the 5th game we're kind of doing the same things early on in particular, but doing the same things to set up our boards, which means we're kind of doing the same thing over and over. So the replayability was a little bit lower. And I want to say that one thing that's really important with Founders of Teotihuacan is it's worth investing in an organizer for it. There's a lot of polyomino pieces, and if you're using bags or something, the setup would be a nightmare. But with an organizer, it was just bloop, 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 and we were ready to go. So that was very nice. It even makes those sound effects. We got a really fancy one. But I really liked it. But again, I just think it has limited replayability.
I think you're right. I think that's true. We have enough games that I think
we're not going to come back to it for a while. So
we're not going to come back to it for a while. It's the type of game that 5 plays of it in a row is maybe not ideal, but having it something that sort of rotates in and out of your collection or in and out of your play cycle. You know,
I mean, I thought the 5 was fine. I just think more,
yeah.
you know, so like it's just got limited. It's got some. It's very puzzly, so it's got some, but
yeah.
you know, I just thought it was limited.
Yeah, fair enough.
So that's all.
But it is definitely a much lighter approach to the subject. So if Teotihuacan is, you know, a little more than you want, this is a great substitute for a lighter gaming group.
What I did miss was I missed those really nice pyramid pieces from Teotihuacan. I kind of wanted them in Founders of Teotihuacan because it would have been so nice to build up a nice pyramid.
It would have, yep.
Oh well, such c'est la vie. So that was Founders of Teotihuacan. So the third game we played, and this one's very exciting for me because on the third game we played on our 5x5, it was Tawantinsuyu. And this one's so exciting, and this is why. Because it is the first 4-weight or higher game that I have played since I got sick in 2020. And I really got sick before that, but it became disabling in 2020. Yeah. So
impossible to deny.
Well, it became disabling. So, it was very exciting to achieve that. It was a big achievement. And we're going to do a video on this, but like, all these games, like I've found a way to learn them, even though I have cognitive disability that makes it hard to learn games because it's hard to read. So we're going to do a video on that soon. Because I think that's really valuable. Yeah,
absolutely.
But maybe it'll help others. So anyway, Tawantinsuyu is a game designed by David Turchi. It's got a ton of artists. Michael Delugage, Jacob... Oh my gosh, I got to give up.
Maybe I should try these. Well, I'm not sure I'm going to do any better, but Jacob Skop, Jacob Fantowski. Oh my gosh. All right. Nope. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. I apologize to the artist.
Alexander Zawada. Okay. This is brutal.
I just don't want to struggle through and brutalize your name.
Anyway, it's published by Board and Dice. All over that. So what a fantastic game. And this is a game, one of those games, you know it's a good game when you finish your 5x5 playing it and you're immediately looking up the expansion. Yeah. You're like, how much is the expansion? What does it add? You know, like, this game was really good. And I thought I thought because of how complex it was, I was a little worried it would be too combative. It wasn't. It was fantastic. And I want more of it.
Yeah. So this is a really interesting game in that you've got this sort of central, well, I mean, you've got a central board, put it in reach of all the players, but it's got tiers on it. They're not actually super 3-dimensional, but there's layers that you can place your workers on. That would be really cool. Somebody make that. And a
little add-on.
Yeah. And each different meeple color has a different power. And so you get your workers from a central pool. You don't have like your own workers. So it's a worker placement game, but you're also kind of working to get the meeples that you need. And the cost of putting a meeple down varies depending on whether it's right by your, I don't know what it is, priest, or whether it's farther away from them. And when you put your workers down, if it's near a worker the same color, that magnifies the value and you get resources. Potatoes. It's got potatoes.
Got a ton of potatoes.
Might be the first game I've seen with potatoes as a resource.
Yeah, potatoes
I am all
are not
about
a common.
that, though.
Potatoes and corn. So
I'm all about
seen
potatoes.
Corn before, but potatoes and corn are the food resources, and they're very important in the game. You do have to feed your people. A little curricular action going on, and you know, it's I like that you can go to war, but you don't battle other players because we're Care Bears and we don't like to do that. Yeah. And there really wasn't much player versus player antagonism. Right. You're fighting over the same sort of worker placement spots, which are these spots all over the pyramid. And sometimes it'd be like, no, you took the perfect spot for me. Yeah, yeah. But, you know, that's how those games work, right? So You know, occasionally we backed off. But
we are Care Bears. Yeah, and there's lots of things going on here. So there's the placement on the board. You're building a tapestry, a woven tapestry that gets you a lot of points. You can conquest, not against your player, fellow player, but when you do that, you can get rewards, and there's some competition for like getting the plum spots there. So there's just a lot of different paths to victory in this, which is something that makes a game really fun and really replayable, because you can just try something different. And this was a long game. How long did it take us? It was probably over an hour every time.
Yeah, it was, excuse me. Yeah, it was over an hour. Yeah, it was over an hour every time. But it got shorter and shorter with each play. So.
But this is a game that after a play, at least once, maybe twice, we're like, let's play it again.
Yep.
Let's just go.
Keep going. This is fun.
This is fun. Like
the first game was rough for me, but it was just a hard learn.
I won.
It's a very heavy game, so.
Yeah.
So there is that, but I did learn it.
Yeah. And there's so many different ways to win that, like, if you try something and either you win with it or you lose, you might like want to try the next thing that you kind of figured out while you were playing immediately. So that speaks highly of a game when you want to just keep playing it. So especially one that's that heavy and that long.
So clearly, thumbs up from both of us, Tawantinsuyu, on our 5x5. Our next game was not a new game to us, but we really enjoy it. But I think we maybe had a little more negatives in this experience, and that is Mystic Vale. And I bring it up because the negatives, I think, were mostly with the expansions.
Entirely with the expansions, yeah.
And we brought on the expansions. We were very excited to play them. They add leaders,
totems,
and something else.
Tokens
that you turn over when you spoil. So it's kind of like, it's card crafting. It's got a sort of an element where you can spoil, so to speak. And if you spoil, it's like a push your luck element. So you're trying to get as many good cards in your field as possible. But these elements we found to be a bit imbalanced.
Yeah, and so it's a really beautiful game, and it's a theme we love. It's, you know, nature trying to sort of fight back from the darkness. And as Jane said, it's card crafting. And John DeClaire, I think, might be the guy who invented card crafting. So you have a clear sleeve, and you buy, you know, inserts, and you put them in there.
If he's not the one who invented it, he's certainly the one who's really pushed it.
Yeah.
In a lot of his games.
Yeah, and so you have a card that might start with one thing on it or no things on it, and you add to it and you make it more powerful. And you're buying from a central market. And we just love that. We love this game so much. We were so excited to add the expansions, as you said, but it seemed to like knock it out of balance. Yeah,
we seem to have, maybe it was just us, and we have to like go back, and we're gonna go through the BGG forums or whatever. But it was like, I don't know, it was like one of us every game had an amazing game and the other one had a horrible game. And this kept happening over and over, and you could look at the powers and be like, well, obviously I had a great game. This power is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, like, this power is so good, but your power's okay. You know, like, and I can see how I had a fantastic game and you struggled through it.
Yeah,
and vice versa.
And that happened more than once because of either the totem or the leader that we had. That just,
or both.
Yeah, or both. It just knocked it out. And so one of us was left going, I can't do anything. How are you, you know, so far ahead of me? And I haven't done anything. And so, again, like you said, we're going to go through the BGG forums. Maybe we did something wrong. But right now, I'd be... hesitant to play with those expansions without kind of looking at them and thinking about how we wanted to implement them. Yeah. The game remains amazing though.
Yeah, the base game is awesome. And like we said, sometimes you bring an expansion, you maybe make a mistake in how you play it or something. So we got to look back at the rules. But in general, I think what we just need to do is take another look at it, because our experience was not that good with the expansions, and we played the Harmony and the Conclave expansions, I believe.
Yeah.
So if you have any input, please put it down below, because we could use feedback on maybe we just did something wrong.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. And then, as you already mentioned, we followed that up with another John DeClaire game, Edge of Darkness.
Yep.
is real good, folks.
Yeah,
it's really good.
I absolutely adore Edge of Darkness. It takes the card crafting and then puts it in the context of this epic tabletop board game experience. It takes it rather, because Mystic Vale is basically a card game.
Yep.
But Edge of Darkness is a board game with, it's got a cube tower, it's got card crafting, it's got
minis,
it's got miniatures, it's got so much going on, but it's all so well designed and so tightly designed. Every single game was a fun experience, and I could have kept playing that.
Oh my gosh,
we
I could have
played
too.
6 instead of 5 games.
And we only painted half the miniatures the first time. I pulled the rest of them out. I'm going to paint them, and then there's different like stories in it. We worked through the first story, which is why we did 6 instead of 5. And
there's actually 4 chapters, but we did the first chapter like 3 times as we got used to the game.
Yeah. And I immediately was like, I want to play the next one. I want to play the next chapter. We have the expansions. I want to play the expansions. Oh my God, this looks so cool.
We need to put it on our 10 by 10 or something.
Is so good.
It's so good. It's so good.
I mean, I think we're going to get 20 games of this in this year, regardless, because we're going to play the rest of those campaigns. I'm going to paint those minis, and we're going to play the next campaign.
Very exciting. And the last expansion, which we haven't gone to yet, takes the story of Mystic Vale and it meets the story of Edge of Darkness, and we're super excited for that. So yeah, I mean, basically Edge of Darkness rocks. I mean, I'm really excited for Dead Reckoning now too, which is another John DeClaire, sort of similar to Edge of Darkness, large scale card crafting mixed in with board game elements, cube tower, etc. Kind of. It's a cube pirate ship, I believe. But you know,
are there minis?
I believe maybe.
Get those out to paint them.
You should take a look. It's over here somewhere.
There. I see it.
Oh no! So, but yeah, we're so excited for that. So that's something we're gonna have to break out because
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we have it on our 5x5 for April, Dead Reckoning, because we were.
Yes.
Our justification is that it's baseball season. We're a Pittsburgh, so if you're a Pirate fan.
Actually, it doesn't have minis. I looked because I was making my painting schedule.
tap. So that's our 5x5 for February. So we thought we weren't going to finish it on time, and we did. We're so excited by that. That's because we got to Edge of Darkness last, and it was so good. We just burned right through it.
Yeah, we did.
It was so good. We played 3 games a day for 2 days, and boom, we're done.
Yeah.
So that was fantastic. And March we have, so what do we have coming up in March? Do you remember?
King's Abbey.
King's Abbey, which we already started.
Yep.
We're excited for that. And
Venice, Irish Gauge, Glenmore 2.
Glenmore 2. That's the one I
Obsession.
And Obsession. Excellent.
That's a good month.
Yeah, that's going to be a good month. It's not quite as heavy as February was, which is good because February was pretty heavy. I mean, Obsession's pretty heavy. And
that's a pretty
Irish
heavy
Gauge
month.
is pretty heavy, but Tawantinsuyu was a 4. There's no 4s in the last. Yeah. I mean, the lightest game was Mystic Vale. Mystic Vale's not a heavy game, but it is a bit long for what it is.
Yeah,
I will admit. And then, so Glenmore 2 might be on level with that, but I think overall February was heavier and March is longer, so we should have no trouble getting this done, I think.
All right, so join us at the end of March to see how we did.
And remember, every day that you game
is a holiday.
Bye.